The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with Mary Wilson.
Hello again and welcome back to another episode of Simply Southern. I'm Mary Wilson. This week, we continue our look back through the wonderful array of stories we've featured in 6 seasons of the show. Today, we'll focus on the musical realm, bringing you our 2018 visit with a North Alabama farmer who moonlights as the bass singer in a gospel quartet. If you're more a fan of the blues, stay tuned for Florence's tribute to the father of the blues as we revisit the WC Handy Music Festival. You won't hear the usual campfire standards at Camp FaSoLa, but stick around to see how this annual summer program is helping to preserve a Southern musical tradition. And we'll kick off this musical retrospective at, where else? The Alabama Music Hall of Fame.
What sustains us? Food? Family? Faith. Alabama farmers live those things every day. They conserve our resources, clothe our families, and fill our tables. They cultivate jobs for our communities and values for our future. Farmers grow it all, right here in Alabama.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
Showcasing all things Alabama is a big part of what we do here at Simply Southern. But when it comes to music, our state's reputation transcends all boundaries. There's no better place to see this legacy collected under one roof than the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. And back in 2019, we got a chance to look inside.
Alabama's Shoals region has a musical legacy that draws artists and aficionados alike to the northwest corner of the state. The legendary performers who have passed through local landmark studios like Muscle Shoals Sound and Fame have come from every genre and corner of the map. Of course, a number of these greats came from right here in the heart of Dixie. And where better to celebrate their contribution than Alabama's music capital?
The Alabama Music Hall of Fame has been open since 1990. Part of that was actually by a statewide referendum, which is pretty unusual. People decided that they wanted a museum to sort of encompass and preserve and tell the stories of all of Alabama's music achievers.
It's all genres of music, from rock and roll to country to rap, and it's all people from the state of Alabama that have contributed in some sort of way to the music scene.
Folks, it doesn't matter what station you park your radio on. This place has plenty to catch both your ears and eyes. The number of musical giants Alabama has produced is more than enough to, quite literally, fill a room.
It's great to have the inductee gallery right there because they can already put a face to what's here. So they immediately recognize the classics, but then they start noticing other people. Lionel Richie, a lot of people know about Jerry Wexler. The group Alabama.
And speaking of the group Alabama, fellas, you seem to have misplaced a bus.
Our biggest exhibit is the tour bus that the group Alabama used in the late 70s. And you can actually walk through that bus. They look at the bus and the way it was set up for the late 70s and they wonder, I wonder what a bus looks like now.
Once you step off the bus, there's an incredible array of musical memorabilia from the performers, producers, and songwriters who have defined our state's rich musical history.
We have all kinds of stuff in the display cases, instruments and uniforms, but then we have a few one-of-a-kind items in here. And one of them is Sam Phillips' very first recording equipment at Sun Records. It's the first stuff that Elvis recorded on it, Howlin' Wolf recorded on it, B.B. King recorded on it.
And speaking of recording, you can take a turn behind the mic and impress your friends in an actual operational recording studio.
We actually have a recording studio that's functionally set up as a karaoke booth. And so we have a very big list of songs that people can come in and record. Of course, that's fun for everybody. You know, some people come in and they're really great.
There's a tear in my bed 'cause I'm crying for you, dead. And some are not so great, but it's a fun way to learn about the incredible talent that has called our state home. Currently, 78 artists have been inducted into the Alabama Hall of Fame, which drew around 16,000 visitors this past year alone. Preparations are underway to bring a few more of Alabama's finest into the fold in 2020. While I doubt you'll ever find Jim Allen's portrait hanging in the gallery, there's a good chance you'll catch this music fan just hanging around.
I like all genres of music, and it's all interesting to me. I like the authentic stuff, costumes and the instruments they actually used and that. It looks like it's very generous for people to donate or loan, the original artifacts, like Hank Jr.'s original outfit.
It's all incredible. It takes you back to, when music was just becoming alive in the 70s in the Shoals area. They said there was something magical about coming here to record, and we try to take advantage of that here at the Music Hall of Fame.
In 2020, the Alabama Music Hall of Fame welcomed 4 new inductees, including influential blues vocalist Willie Mae Big Mama Thornton. You can see the full list of Alabama's Hall of Famers on their website, alamhof.org. One name you will definitely see at the Alabama Music Hall of Fame is W.C. Handy. Up next, we'll bring you our visit to the Shoals Area Music Festival that bears his name.
Wear long pants, long sleeve shirts, and closed-toed shoes. Don't be ticked. Use repellents with 20% DEET on skin and 0.5% permethrin on gear and clothing. Don't be ticked. Avoid sitting on rotten logs or stumps. Don't be ticked. Protect yourself from serious tick-borne illnesses and seek timely treatment to prevent long-term problems. No hunters were angered in the making of this film.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
Soybean is a very versatile product. We make crayons out of it.
A lot of the combines you see rolling through the fields have a lot of plastic side panels that are made from a soy product.
The soybeans that we grow on our farm mostly goes into chicken feed.
Soybean production in Alabama employs over 10,000 people.
We grow some of the best soybeans in the world.
We go the extra mile to make sure when our name is stamped on it, we know it's the best product we can produce.
Some of the best things in life start with a bundle. And some of them can actually save you money. Like when you bundle your auto and life insurance with Alpha. Protect what's important to you at a price you can afford.
All for a better life.
Alpha Insurance.
All for a better life.
Ask your local agent about Alpha's Auto Life discount.
Every year, the Quad Cities of Florence, Tuscumbia, Sheffield, and Muscle Shoals see a lot of visitors who have music on their minds. While best known for the recording studios behind the famous Muscle Shoals sound, Alabama's northwest corner was also home to a renowned composer history remembers as the father of the blues. No matter what kind of music you like, you'll find something to tap a toe to during the week-long W.C. Handy Music Festival.
The Tennessee River is known as the Singing River. Given the rich music history of the Shoals, there must be something in the water. And long before rock and rollers sought to record at Fame and Muscle Shoals sound studios, a young W.C. Handy was soaking up the sounds of nature in Alabama's Renaissance city.
He was born here in Florence, 1873, and as he describes in his autobiography, it was actually a very pleasant experience, which is a testimonial to the city and to this region. The world knows him as a celebrated composer of the blues, the first composer of the blues. Many acknowledge him as the father of the blues.
Carlos and his wife Maribel recently took over the administration of the W.C. Handy Home and Museum in Florence. Visitors can see the two-room cabin where the bluesman was reared and peruse the museum's vast collection of items from his illustrious career.
The most incredible thing was there's a Japanese record of the St. Louis Blues that was discovered on Iwo Jima when the armies occupied it, when the U.S. Army occupied it. So that gives you a sense of his popularity. Even the enemy was playing it. It's more than just the beautiful blues compositions he composed. The elements of the man, his psyche, his drive, his intellect, his dignity, all those things make up the man, and they're an important part of who he is, which is the father of blues.
Once a year, blues fans pack the grounds of the Home and Museum for the opening ceremonies of the W.C. Handy Music Festival, which was first hosted in Florence back in 1982.
He had a huge impact on the music world, and jazz in particular, not just here, but everywhere. When people find out he is from here, and like, wow, that's amazing, he came from here. And so people are familiar with his music, even if they don't know his name. When they hear it, they say, oh yeah, I know that. So he's a very important person, so we want to share that with everyone and take time to celebrate the heritage from this area.
During the 11 days of the festival, people tap their toes to tunes played in parks, restaurants, church fellowship halls, and even art museums. The sounds spill from Florence into 7 surrounding cities in 3 counties.
One of the best things to me about the Handy Festival is how many events there are. I know people who will event hop all night, every night, to all the different restaurants. They'll go stay at this place for 45 minutes and then move on to the next place and another one over the course of a whole evening.
The seemingly endless refrains of music from all genres are a fitting tribute to Handy, a son of Florence and father of the blues.
Some people take issue with that he's called the father of blues because they say, well, he didn't create the blues. Yes, he even acknowledges that. But when you recognize that classically trained musicians, white society, educated black society, turned their backs on the blues, and he had the courage to reach out and learn it and publish or compose it in a authentic style, but in a style that people could understand. I mean, that is revolutionary.
If you're ready to get in on the fun, WCHandyMusicFestival.com is the best place to keep up with what they've got cooking for next year's event. Don't spend a day, spend the week. Trust me, it's worth it. Now our next stop on this musical journey starts off at a Morgan County farm. When Mark Byrd steps off the tractor, he steps onto a tour bus to spread the good news as a member of a gospel group. We'll bring you our 2019 story on this singing farmer next on Simply Southern.
A farmer has to live on faith. We do all we can do, but we can only control so much.
Alabama is the second largest poultry growing state in the nation, so we're trying our best to grow all the corn we can for that.
What we produce not only feeds and clothes all of the United States, but about half of what we make goes on to the world market.
We've been able to improve yields, have some things that can help us produce a better crop. I'm proud of the product we make and proud that I can say I'm an Alabama farmer.
Not littering is not hard. If you've accumulated trash in your vehicle, don't throw it out the window. Throw it in a can at the gas pump. Throw it in a can at a storefront. Throw it in a can at work. Or throw it in the can at home. Just don't drop it on Alabama. Not littering is not hard. Brought to you by People Against a Littered State, the Alabama Department of Transportation, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Farm Bureau Bank has built its entire existence around the lifestyle and needs of farmers and ranchers across America. We're here to help grow traditions, give back to agricultural communities, and offer financial convenience for your unique way of life. From sunup to sundown, we are committed to serving you.
I take pride in the product that we produce as a catfish farmer. Hi, I'm Willard Poe, and I'm the 2019 Alabama Catfish Farmer of the Year. When I go out to a restaurant and see people eating U.S. farm-raised catfish, that gives you a sense of pride and a sense of joy, knowing that you have produced a product that other people enjoy. Other people love to go out and eat.
If you take anything away from watching Simply Southern, we hope it's that Alabama's farmers help feed not just the state, but the world. So what exactly does this have to do with music? Well, Mark Byrd is one of those Alabama farmers. But besides raising food to nourish our bodies, he also uses his talent for singing to feed the spirit.
Outside of Nashville, you don't often see a tour bus parked next to a tractor. But these two vehicles are something of a metaphor for Mark Byrd's life. The tractor represents his Monday to Friday job as a farmer, raising chickens, cattle, and row crops with his wife Sandy and their two sons on a farm between Decatur and Coleman.
We've been here since 1993, and we've got 7 poultry houses, and we've got a row crop operation. We're farming about 2,000 acres, and it's a rotation of corn, soybeans, and wheat. We have planted cotton. We probably will plant some more cotton at some point. We've got 150 head of cattle.
Mark and Sandy started farming in 1993. Although he didn't grow up on a farm, Mark's family did attend church regularly. In addition to growing in his faith, Mark discovered a passion and a talent for singing.
I was raised in a little Methodist church, and I can remember our song director back then, and we had the old hymn books that he'd get out, and believe it or not, when I was young, I sang tenor. So puberty kind of put me in a different class of song, but it just goes all the way back to when I was a little kid. I was raised in church, and I've been singing on stage and either with a hymn book in front of me or with a mic in front of me for a long time.
Mark joined his first gospel group in 1989 and sang with them for about 5 years. But he says his ministry of music really took off when he joined Living Faith a few years later. Since then, they've recorded 5 CDs and released their first single earlier this year.
I see Jesus, and he's saying, welcome home.
So I See Jesus, that's the one that's on radio, and I love the song. They sent the demo to us, and I sat there with my headphones on in the recliner listening to the demo, and the first time I listened to it, sounded cool, sounded like a good song. Then I listened to it again, and I listened to the words a little bit better that time. And then I listened to it again, and man, it got to where I couldn't listen to it. It was so good. But it's a great message in that song.
Many radio stations around the Southeast are playing the song, and it's available on iTunes for just 99 cents. Mark says they hope the popularity of the song will provide more opportunities for them to perform. And thanks to that new tour bus, Mark, Rodney James, Nathan James, and Mary Mooney can comfortably travel across much of the eastern United States, sharing the good news of salvation. But Mark's quick to point out that Living Faith is about a lot more than entertainment.
Our whole goal as a ministry is to be that witness for Christ. And although our ministry is fun to us, there's a greater calling for our ministry, and that's to spread the good word of Jesus. And so when we see people change, we see lives change, that's the fuel for our souls. That's why we know that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
While the bright lights of the stage may seem a long way from the bright sun of an Alabama summer day, Mark says faith is the common thread that connects his music ministry with his vocation of farming.
To plant a crop, to plant corn, to plant soybeans, wheat, whatever you do to put money in the ground, it takes faith to know that there's going to be a harvest out of that. And it's the same way with what we do in our ministry. We're planting seeds, and we're expecting a harvest from that. We may not see it, but we're planting the seeds for what we do.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington.
Now, I know we've got some fans of good old Southern gospel out there, so if you haven't had a chance to see Living Faith in person, there's a good chance they'll be performing somewhere near you in the future. All of their upcoming dates are on their website at livingfaithquartet.com. While not every farmer shares Mark's musical gifts, the hard work they do is a gift to all of us. For more information on agriculture, you can always find plenty of news and farmer feature stories on the Alabama Farmers Federation's website at alphafarmers.org. Plus, get the most up-to-date information by following the Alabama Farmers Federation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our final stop on this Simply Southern musical review is at a summer camp, where the usual outdoor activities take a backseat to a special kind of singing.
There's nothing quite like sitting down to a home-cooked meal with fresh vegetables from the garden. With Bonnie plants from your local quality co-op store, you can enjoy the freshest vegetables right from your own backyard. And no matter if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, your quality co-op store has exactly what you need to get the most out of your plants. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
The versatile peanut, meat of the earth, friend of the soil, tasty, nutritious, packed with protein. And Alabama peanut farmers nourish some very special things: families, communities, and Alabama's economy. Peanuts. Good for you, good for Alabama.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
For more Simply Southern, be sure to follow us on social media. And while you're online, visit our website, simplysouthern.tv.net. Simply Southern will continue in a moment.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed, because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Your typical summer camp might throw in a sing-along or two in between swimming and making s'mores. But singing is the attraction for campers who come from around the world to Camp FaSoLa. If you're not familiar with shape note singing, enjoy this return trip to Alabama's most musical camp.
What you're hearing might be nothing new to a lot of you out there. This sort of singing goes way back down here in the South, after all. You might have heard your grandparents talk about singing FaSoLa in church. Maybe you even joined in yourself. But if you've never experienced the almost haunting sound of a shape note choir, I can't think of a better place to get acquainted than Anniston's annual Camp FaSoLa.
This is our 17th year to be at Camp Lee. We started here in 2003. The idea we came up with was to have a summer camp where you could have folks and really have an immersive experience in a week's time where you sort of have them captured.
Shape note singing goes back to 18th century England. The idea being to make it easier for people to sing together in church. The tradition later carried over to the U.S. with books like The Sacred Harp becoming popular in the New England states and particularly in the South.
They came up with a system that some people call character notes or the shape notes. So each degree of the scale is related by a shape. And so 1 and 4 are a triangle, 2 and 5 are a circle, 3 and 6 are a square, and 7 is a diamond. So the major scale, the names repeat themselves. So it's FaSoLa, FaSoLa, and then Mi is the leading tone or the next to last note. Fa, sol, la, mi, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, la, sol, fa. The sound is just very unique. There's nothing else written like it.
We have 3 full days of camp, so we sing a lot. We sit in a square, we call it a hollow square. We have 4 parts, and each part sits on a side of that square. Tenor, which sings our melody, treble, which is a high part, bass, the low men's part, and alto. The leader comes and stands in the middle of this hollow square, selects their own song. It's not pre-selected for them. They can sing whatever song, so it's their song, and we call that their lesson.
When they're not singing, participants have plenty of time for the usual camp pursuits like swimming, climbing, or taking a ride on the camp zip line. But there's a community spirit to coming together in song that brings folks back year after year.
This is something that hasn't existed anywhere else. And it gives a chance to sit down and express some really deep feelings, which you don't get in other arenas. All of that together, I think, is part of what makes it. I have friends here that I never would have met otherwise, and I wouldn't give them up.
When I was young, there were very few young people singing Sacred Harp. In anything, you need to have young people learning and doing these things if you're going to carry it forward. As we've had this, a lot of the campers who come through have become, now they're our teachers. So to see that, and to see the improvement in the singing over this time is also especially rewarding. To see all this come together, whether it's at camp like we are doing here now, or at Sacred Harp Singing, it's a similar thing. You know, differences are left outside the doors. And so it's a time where people can come and bring, and they just join and sit around the square and sing together about the truths about God. It's sort of like heaven on earth to me.
Camp FaSoLa has been such a hit over the years that they started a program overseas in Poland. If your current summer camp just isn't musical enough for you, check out their website, campfasola.org. If you've enjoyed this look back at our more musical moments, there's plenty of ways you can share these stories and more with your family and friends. You can subscribe to the Simply Southern TV YouTube channel, follow Simply Southern TV on Facebook, and read our blog, which is updated every Sunday morning at 6. Just visit simplysouthern.tv.net. Thanks for watching Simply Southern today, everyone. Be sure to tune in next week when we'll be focusing on some of the truly heartwarming stories we've had the chance to bring you over the years. I'm Mary Wilson. Come see me again next time.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.